My heart is shattered. My heart is shattered in a million pieces. The life that I've known since I was 19 is no more.
Sheinelle Jones is ready to grieve out loud. The Today anchor returned to work on September 5th after a months-long absence in the wake of husband Uche Ojeh's death, and she received a warm welcome from her fellow hosts.
You guys, my family. My family would come in town and they'd say, oh, you guys really are a family. I mean, this guy bringing breakfast sandwiches to my kids while they were in hospice. This one, his first surgery, praying with us before he was whisked away to his last moments. This one, I read all the text messages, the scriptures, the praise and worship. Like, this one, talking me off a cliff in hospice. I mean, it's just... Saturday morning, oh, this is from Jenna Bush Hager. These are just some sweets for the kids. You guys have been my oxygen. So, and you guys at home, all the messages and prayers, and I'm so thankful.
Uche passed away from brain cancer at just 45 years old, and Sheinelle opened up about the devastating loss and how she and their 3 children are moving forward while keeping his memory close. In a pre-taped interview with colleague Savannah Guthrie, Sheinelle acknowledged the wrenching emotional toll she and her family are going through and why it's hard to answer when someone asks how she's doing.
I have noticed that when people send me a text message and they just give me a heart, I heart it back. Or if they say, hang in there, I heart it back. When someone says, how are you? Sometimes I go days, sometimes weeks, because I don't know. In this moment, I'm okay. Day to day, I'm okay. From a macro picture, how am I doing? My heart is shattered. My heart is shattered in a million pieces. The life that I've known since I was 19 is no more.
The 47-year-old reflected on adjusting her day-to-day life without Uche and moving through the pain of his absence, especially given his passion for living life to the fullest.
Just loved life. And people say that, but I'm telling you, I mean, there was a point in the service where one of his best friends got up and he said, you know, the guy who surfs and beekeeps and soccer and everything he said, you know, I'm like, oh, no, they're not kidding. Like when it was tough to kick a ball, he started keeping bees. Maybe you'll have honey next holiday. But I mean, all the things. And it's hard to live without that. People think that I'm the social one because I'm on TV, but it's actually him. I'm like an extroverted introvert. I go home and I'm all talked out, so I'm kind of quiet. And so when people come over, they're his friends and they're, you know, all of his buddies and his cousins, and he just brings the party, and then I don't have to. And so now it's pretty clear, you know, Dad brought the party, you know. So I feel a little pressure because it's like, oh man, like, I don't know if I can't be your dad. I can be the best mom I can be, and your uncles can be the best uncles they can be, and our friends and our family, who have been like oxygen, by the way. They're all here for us, but we can't replace Dad. And that's just the truth.
Sheinelle stepped away from Today in December 2024 for then undisclosed personal reasons, only going public with Uche's illness after he died, and she looked back on keeping his fight private for much longer than fans realize.
So what people don't know is that we've been dealing with this for a long time, and it was, I'd say, a few weeks before I ran the marathon. And I know that people will say, what? But I ran that marathon with that on my shoulders. In fact, you know, the people in my inner circle pleaded with me. Some of my best friends pleaded with me not to run. You know, the practice that it required and the just mental fortitude that it required. And then we just got this devastating diagnosis, like how, forget running, like, no, you know? But he was like, are you kidding me? Like, you know, the whole concept of you running was to do something hard. Like, you can do hard things. You can do the unimaginable. And little did I know that marathon was gonna set me up for a real one. When I ran the marathon, it was like, okay, one foot in front of the other, one breath at a time. Oh my God, this is so hard, I can't take another step. Yes, you can. You know, it's like all of those things. who knew it was like a template, a manual for what I was going to have to deal with.
The mom of 3 noted how one particular comment she received during this difficult time didn't land well, and how staying dedicated to her work despite what was going on behind the scenes helped her cope.
People who knew would say, "Oh my God, you're doing such a good job at faking it." And it really bothered me. I would kind of brush it off, but it bothered me because I thought, I'm not faking it. Like, my joy is real.
You mean when you would go on the show?
I was on television for almost a year.
With this happening behind the scenes?
Yeah, I would do the show and then hop in the car and go be with him during chemo.
But you say, I wasn't faking it till I make it.
There's
your
no
joy
fake it
was
till you
real.
make it. My joy was real. And I think 2 things can be true. I can hold on to my joy, first and foremost, because I had my faith. And you couldn't tell me that he wasn't going to beat it. I believed that he was going to be okay. I knew it was going to be tough, but we all believed he would be fine. It was just a matter of time and figuring it out. So I was able to come on the show and be with some of my best friends in life and talk about things that were funny or sad or thought-provoking. It's what I do. It's part of my purpose. And so for me, in some ways, it was probably the therapy I didn't know I needed to come to work.
Sheinelle teared up when sharing that the pair would have celebrated their 18th wedding anniversary this year, and how she promised Uche that despite their love story's tragic end, she has no regrets.
We would have been married 18 years this month. So the 18 plus the 10 we dated. You know, there are people who aren't even 28 years old. And so there was a there from the moment, I decided to give him directions on campus. And it just felt like we always kind of had it. And when he was dying, it just felt like, obviously you ask the big questions like, why did this happen? Like, how did this happen? You ask all those questions. And in the midst of those questions, there's still that piece that it was meant to be. And I would look at him and I would say, I would do this all over again. And I would say, this sucks and this is scary, but if you asked me if this was gonna be my fate, I would do it all over again.
Sheinelle and Uche shared a 16-year-old son and 13-year-old twins, and she explained that she's not only staying strong for their sake, but also learning from their own grieving journeys too.
There are times where if I could just stay in bed, keep the door closed, not answer my phone, and just sit, it would be amazing. But I can't do that because I have 3 little beings who, are watching me, and I want them to be proud of me. I want them to be proud of how I handled it. And so I kind of feel like I just have to keep running. But I'll tell you that sometimes they teach me things. So to prepare for this interview, I was very honest with them. We have what I call, it's time for a family meeting. And my oldest will be like, oh gosh, okay. So, come on, time for a family meeting. And so with this, I said, I'm gonna sit down with Miss Savannah and we're gonna talk about Dad. We're gonna talk about how I'm doing. And, I said, one of my producers asked me how I'm doing and I have a tough time answering that question. So I'm going to ask you guys, how are you doing? And one of my kids said, well, I cry a lot. I cried a lot at school, and I used to cry a lot. But now, I think of Dad and I smile. I was like, oh. And I cried, and I thought, oh, okay. Like, they're gonna be okay.
The journalist went on to share how grief has evolved for her from something that felt like a crushing weight to a more comforting presence as she continues healing.
There's so many people who say, you should make grief your friend. I've tried all the meditations, I've tried all the podcasts, I've tried it all. And in the beginning, I thought, why would I want to make this horrible thing my friend? Like, go away and never come back. But in some ways, we've all heard the saying that grief is just love with no place to go. And so when it comes now, I'm like, okay,
can come. We can sit for a little bit. And then, okay, now it's time to go. And so as long as I know, and I love the beach, I love the waves, I love the ocean, it brings me peace. And so in some ways, I'm like, okay, it comes, and then it goes.
Despite the heavy emotions throughout the conversation, Sheinelle let her humor show too when recalling the important lesson she learned from an unfortunate Google search.
I will tell you, I have feverishly searched for a muse, or like, who can I admire? Who's lost their husband that I can be? And I'll just be honest, I went to YouTube and I was trying to find like the closest thing to me. So I Googled Black Widow, and it was just spiders. That's my truth. So I'm like, okay, God, I hear you. I'll be it. Fine.
Yeah.
I'll stop searching for a me and just be me.
Looking ahead, Sheinelle pledged to continue finding ways to laugh, and why she's determined to make sure her kids can keep smiling too.
So don't get me wrong, like, my heart still hurts, but we are gonna fight for our joy. We're gonna laugh, we're gonna have a good time, and I'm gonna tell my kids to do the same. You know, you guys, my colleagues, my friends, my dream team, hair and makeup, like all the folks, like I feel like they've done all they can for me, you know, to get me up to where I can run again. And I feel like now I'm getting the baton, and I'm like, okay. But no one can run this for me. I can't Google it. I'm not on YouTube. Well, now I can be, but it's me. And so I'm gonna run the heck out of this race for him and for myself.